For people to really understand what protein is, we must be able to break it down into specifically what functions does it serve in our body. We know it's structural, and we'll think of protein in terms of just muscle mass, help us with weight loss and all that jazz. But I think there needs to be more of a stronger understanding of the role protein plays and why, when it comes to calculating someone's macronutrients, it's actually one of the first calculations in the actual process of determining how many calories and or the allotment of protein that we prescribe to individuals wanting to gain weight, lose weight, put on muscle mass, we've got bodybuilding comp, or even just for general healthy lifestyle living to help maintain muscle mass, or if they've got a specific condition, we actually want them to consume or have a daily target for. Most people eat protein for is improved body composition and recovery from sport and training. That's all they really know, and that's all what's been really marketed to. And this is what everyone thinks at the end of the day, is they just think of just the specific outcome, but don't realize the role of what protein plays within the actual body. Specifically, what is protein and its role? So basically, protein is 20 amino acids. We have 9 non-essential and 9 essential. Basically, non-essential is we can synthesize it within our body. Not the essential ones we actually have to consume through diet. So whether it's plant-based, animal products, doesn't matter what it is, we need to make sure that we consume them throughout our diet. So we know it repairs body tissue, but we know it's also a messenger as well. So protein, an example of a messenger protein is insulin, glucagon, human growth hormone, antidiuretic hormone, and ACTH, which is actually responsible for cortisol release. I can't remember the actual name. It also allows metabolic reactions to occur. So what we want to do is the synthesis of new tissue. Proteins come together, amino acids can get reorganized into peptides and reorganized into proteins to help drive metabolic reactions within our body. And we need proteins because it helps speed up those metabolic reactions. So we're talking specifically about enzymes to speed up the reactions of binding and not binding proteins together as well. Provides structure and movement, acting on the skeletal system. So we're talking about muscle tissue. And it actually keeps the immune system strong. So antibodies are actually proteins. So it's actually really important that we get an adequate amount of protein within the body. And why am I making a big deal about this? Specifically, the current protein recommendations are insufficient for adults to maintain muscle mass and strength as they get older. And I'll allude to the recommendations a little bit later. Now, the recommendations were actually really interesting to me. So the healthy general population is between 1.2 and 1.8 grams per kilogram. So for example, if someone who's a 100 kilo male, and they're healthy, so they only got maybe 15% body fat, they need to be consuming about 120 to 180 grams of protein per day, which is it's a decent amount for some people, but at the end of the day, that's just for healthy general population. So they might work some sort of labor-intensive job, but it's nothing that's too strenuous on their system. Active athletes are going to consume a little bit more, between 1.4 and 2 grams per kilogram. But what was really interesting is sedentary but healthy seniors need to consume between 1 to 1.2 grams per kilogram. Then there's also the catch side, which I think a lot of people believe that consuming too much protein in the long term is actually detrimental on our kidneys and our liver. The jury is actually still out on this at the end of the day. You could if you have a previous kidney or liver condition, then yes, limiting the amount of protein that you consume. So it's less demanding on the liver and the kidneys in order to break down and utilize. But But the critical part is you need to slowly ramp up the protein consumption. So you can't go from eating 50 grams to 150 grams if you're a healthy if you're just in a healthy gen pop range. It has to gradually build up over time, so our body becomes more accustomed or adapts to the amount of protein that's being consumed. And spreading out the consumption evenly throughout the day is actually quite critical, especially for those in terms of the weight loss, even those who want to build muscle. Look, and protein is the only macronutrient that isn't stored just through passive means. We have to actively build and do resistance training in order to increase our protein or our lean muscle mass at the end of the day.